Hey YouTube, it's Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. And this week I have a lot of projects piling up, including an order that's an actual paying gig that I need to get done by the end of this week. But it's one of those projects where I need to do a few projects before that so I can get that project done. Some of the things I need to accomplish are steps in order to get the paying job from material to finished product. One of the things that I would like to do, it's not a necessity at this point in time. I can use the old tool post that's on my lathe, but as many of you know, I bought myself a quick change tool post and I really would like to get around to installing it. So that's going to be my first project for the week, is machining a new nut so it'll fit in the compound slide for the Atlas lathe. Alright YouTube, I got the old tool post off, and while yes, this is kind of, it's an old school quick change tool post, to be honest with you. The thing about it is, it was very hard to adjust up and down. I would sometimes have to come in here and shim different tool bits, and I was limited to the size of a tool bit I could use. So I decided to replace it and upgrade to the quick change, the real new modern kind of quick change tool post. But as I took this apart, I realized that I wasn't going to get the measurements that I needed off of this T-slot, because I was planning on just taking the material out, the nut, and getting my dimensions from this. And I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I don't like how sloppy that is. I want to make it a little bit more precise. I mean, granted, I'm not going to make it perfect either, but I can definitely do better than that. So, as I had mentioned in a previous video, I haven't had time to kind of restock or go to scrap yards and hunt around and look for stuff. But I am a metal worker. I don't care if you want to call me a blacksmith, a machinist, a welder, I don't care at this point, because I just work with metal and I try to be well-rounded in that genre. I need a piece of material that's going to fit in here, and I don't have it. And then I realized that I have scrap and stuff that people have given me over the years. It's like, hey, you work with metal. This has been sitting in my garage for 40 years. Here, take this. And there are some things that just show up here, like this, for example. I have no idea where the heck this thing came from. Actually, I know who gave it to me, but I don't know what the heck this thing was used for. It's all kinds of just Frankenstein engineering. It looks like there's, you know, a wing nut, a regular bolt. It's like, really? I couldn't even begin to guess what this was for. But somebody gave it to me. Maybe they figured I could use it. Maybe they figured I could scrap it. The nice thing is, this chunk of stock here is big enough for what I need to make the nut on the lathe. So I'm going to cut a slab off of this, and we're going to get started machining the part. Alright YouTube, I'm running into a little bit of a problem here, and my solution is not ideal, but it should work. I don't have a parallel that's the right height that will allow me to put the piece where I need it and still have the jaws of the vise close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an Allen wrench. Allen wrenches are typically straight, and I'm going to put it right up against the parallel to make sure that it is still straight and it hasn't been torqued to hell. I'm going to put this in first. I'm going to put my parallel on top of that, and then I'm going to load in the workpiece. And now I'm going to turn the mill on, and I'm going to pray. Well, it needs a little bit of a cleanup, but it looks like a T-nut. Let's go fit it in the lathe. It's got some back and forth wobble to it. Up and down, not so much. Up and down's actually pretty nice. Now, I know there's a couple of people out there that are probably going to say things like, well, you know, if you took your time and laid it out and used height stands and all this other stuff. Yeah, I know. I did all of the layout with my calipers. And yes, I could have taken my time on the mill. I could have been more precise. I could have done a lot of things differently. But you know what? At the end of the day, nobody is ever going to see this. And even if I make something other people look at and it's like, oh my God, that's beautiful, it's perfect, I am going to know every flaw. That's just the way it is when you're an artist or you're a machinist or you're somebody who makes things with your hands. Nothing is ever perfect to you. But anyway, this is going to be hidden. It's going to be underneath the tool post, so for the rest of its life it's never going to be seen. All I need to do is drill and tap a hole and it's done. But I don't look at this as a failure. It doesn't fit the way I want, but you know what? I look at it as a win. Because here's a piece that I made out of a scrap chunk of steel I had laying around my shop. And here's the piece that came with the professionally made tool from a factory. And this has been on the lathe for quite a while, so I know this was made in a time when people cared about craftsmanship. And the tool post is great, the ball bearing movement in it is great, it's precision machined, but they even cared less about this piece. So, is it perfect? Good God, no. I am definitely not Mr. Pete, but you know what? It is usable, it will function, and it will let me move on to my next project where I can actually get paid. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far, but I do want to take a break to give a special mention to someone who I've recently met in the YouTube community. Now this is somebody who came forward, sent me an email and said, hey dude, let me help you out with your camera and your lighting and stuff. And he sent me a few things over Facebook and we talked back and forth, and he's a really cool guy, down to earth, and I checked out his channel. Now his channel is much bigger than mine. He's got over 800 videos. He's got quite a bit in there when it comes to cars and off-roading, things like that. But really, why I've been watching him lately, he's been starting to get into blacksmithing. And he made his own anvil, he made his own forge, and he's going through all of the motions that we all go through when we first get started, kind of like the journey of discovery. And he is taking the bull by the horns and, dare I say, kicking ass as a blacksmith. I think he's going to be very good once he finds his niche and he gets a hang of things. Anyway, his name is Steve. His channel name is Analog56X. Very down-to-earth guy. Like I said, he's got just tons and tons of videos. He's got like over 800 of them. He's been hanging out in the YouTube community since 2006, and he is definitely worth the watch. And Steve, if you're listening, I'm really glad you have so many videos out there on the web, because I sit at a guard shack at a train station all night long. And having videos to watch in between trains, it makes the time go by much faster, and I enjoy everything that I've seen on your channel so far. So keep up the good work, and speaking of work, let's get back to ours. You know what, YouTube? Sometimes projects just seem to take on a life of their own, and you need to put more time and effort into them than you originally wanted to. This is going to be one of those projects. I bought the tool post based off of what I read on eBay. This is for 10 to 12 inch lathes. Well, yeah, that might be true, but can you see the problem yet? Yeah. So there's that. So now you know what the train wreck is. Let's work on troubleshooting the problem. Well, I can take this post and I can machine this end down, re-thread it with something smaller that'll fit that T. The problem is it would never ever fit in the original T slot again, and I kind of want to keep this as it is because I don't always intend on having a small little Atlas lathe. Someday when I expand, I'm hoping to have something bigger, and I don't like modifying stuff that you know, came from a factory. I'd rather keep it original if I can. So that means whatever the solution is, I'm gonna have to machine it myself. I still have some of that stainless steel rod left over from a couple of videos ago. So my thought is, I'm gonna machine it down to the diameter of this shaft and then thread each end to something different so it'll mate up with what I have available. Now I would love to use the same kind of thread that's on this so I could reuse the top nut because it's just a really nice piece. But of course, I don't have a die that's anywhere close to this. So I went through the parts drawer. What I do have, this is a collared nut. It's threaded to 1/2 inch by 13, and I found a washer, and together they'll give me exactly what I need. So I found my 1/2 inch by 13 tap and die. So I have everything I need. I just need to do it. And I'm not going to be filming any of this. I'm going to make the parts and we will come back for the assembly because this video will get way too long if I go through the machining process of something that I didn't plan. Plus the fact I have a lot of stuff I need to accomplish today, and filming, while I do love sharing with the YouTube community, it does take up quite a bit of time and it tends to add a significant amount of time to a project. So bear with me. I'll be right back with the hopefully final solution to this problem, and we can mount it on the lathe and we'll go from there. Alright YouTube, before I can actually run this, I do need to make a spacer. Unfortunately, well, it's not really unfortunate, it's just the way they used to make things back then. They used to like rounding off things and making things look nice. It wasn't so boxy like modern lathes are now. This radius, however, up here, they came in when they machined this flat. This flat sits below the top of this radius. So I need to make a spacer to make up the difference, which is no big deal. The hard part's done. I ended up creating a thread on the bottom that was 3/8 by 24, and that will just screw in here. That'll fit there. Post will sit on top, and where I put that collared nut, there it is. And this will sit right on top. And I'm looking at this now that it's put together. I really don't need to put that washer in like I thought. This sits fairly nice on its own. Alright guys, I think it's just about time for me to wrap this video up here. I have a few little things I need to tweak with this holder, but it's going to be a lot better for me for using a lathe, and it's going to be very helpful for tomorrow's project. Now tomorrow's project is going to use that mystery envelope off of eBay. So I'm going to be cracking this puppy open tomorrow. It's going to be a pretty cool project. We're going to be working with some copper, we're going to be doing some lathe work, a little bit of work on the mill. So I will see you then. Until the next video, until tomorrow, this has been Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. I will see you again soon.